Every 2 minutes, somewhere in America, a brain shuts down from a stroke. But what if the real reason isn't age? It's that the tiny messengers that keep your vessels open simply go silent. I'm Dr. Samuel Hartley, a former Harvard researcher, and for 25 years I've watched how one forgotten molecule, nitric oxide, decides who stays sharp and who starts to fade. Today you'll learn how to switch it back on and reoxygenate your brain naturally so you can walk steady, think clearly, and stay independent for years to come. Most people over 60 don't realize that the first signs of a stroke rarely look dramatic. They don't begin with a collapse or a scream. They begin quietly, in the space between thoughts or in the small tremor of a hand reaching for a glass. I've seen it countless times in my patients. A moment of dizziness, a single missed word, a step that feels uncertain. These are not random. They are whispers from your circulation, the living rivers that keep your brain awake and your memories intact. And when those rivers slow, everything that makes you you begins to fade. Most people think stroke comes without warning, that it strikes out of nowhere, like lightning from a clear sky. But that's not how it happens. The truth is, your body sends quiet signals long before the storm. Small moments of imbalance, a flicker of dizziness, a stumble that feels too slight to mention. Ellen, one of my patients, was 68 when she began noticing something strange. Each time she climbed her front steps, her balance wavered just for a second. She brushed it off, blamed her shoes, and kept going. 2 weeks later, while watering her plants, her left hand slipped. The hose fell. She couldn't grip it again. It lasted less than a minute. But it was enough for me to know what had happened. A tiny stroke. Here's the part most people miss. These aren't just coincidences of aging. They're signals from your brain's blood vessels, the fragile highways that feed every memory, every word, every step you take. Over time, the inner lining of those vessels, called the endothelium, begins to lose its flexibility. Think of it like the inside of a garden hose that's slowly hardening. The softer it is, the smoother the flow. The stiffer it gets, the more turbulence builds inside. And what happens when flow falters? Oxygen drops, neurons suffocate. Your brain, which makes up only 2% of your body weight, but uses 20% of its oxygen, starts to dim. Not all at once, but like lights flickering in an old house. Recent research from the American Heart Journal, 2021, found that endothelial stiffness increases stroke risk by more than threefold in adults over 60. But it's not only about stroke. That same stiffness quietly starves the brain of oxygen, leading to brain fog, slower recall, and that subtle loss of coordination that so many people mistake for just getting older. Now, if you've noticed moments where your balance falters or your thoughts feel slower to form, you're not alone. It's not weakness, it's biology, and biology can be retrained because your blood vessels aren't lifeless pipes. They're living tissue. They breathe, respond, and can be restored. The key lies in reawakening their messenger system, the same one that controls every pulse of blood to your brain. But what's controlling that system? And how do you bring it back online? That's where things get fascinating. Every vessel in your body, from your heart to the tiniest capillaries feeding your brain, speaks the same silent language. That language is nitric oxide. It's a gas your blood vessels produce to stay flexible, open, alive. When you're young, that signal flows freely, expanding vessels in milliseconds. But after 60, that signal weakens. And so does everything it touches. Memory, balance, focus, even mood. You see, your blood vessels aren't blocked overnight. They close in slow motion, as nitric oxide levels fall and the inner lining stiffens like old rubber. Without that molecule, even clean arteries can behave like clogged ones. Blood flow falters, neurons starve, the brain begins to run on fumes. A 2022 study from the Harvard Nutrition Research Center showed something extraordinary. Seniors who added nitrate-rich vegetables like beets and spinach to their daily meals increased their nitric oxide levels by 24% in just 1 week. And their brain scans revealed a 15% improvement in regional blood flow, especially to the areas linked with memory and balance. Think of nitric oxide as Wi-Fi for your brain. When the signal is strong, every cell communicates clearly. But when that signal fades, connections drop. Literally, words slip away, steps feel less certain. Now, here's the part that most people miss. You don't need medication to switch that signal back on. Your body already knows how. Each breath you take, each bite of green food, each moment you calm your nervous system. All of these can awaken nitric oxide production again. Start simple. Before your first meal, take 3 slow breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth. This alone can lower cortisol, the stress hormone that constricts blood vessels. Then, at lunch, add half a cup of beet salad or a handful of arugula. It's small, but the science says it works, because your body remembers. And once that biological switch turns back on, your brain begins to breathe again, deeper, clearer, stronger. But nitric oxide is only one half of the story. The other half is the silent trio that steals it from you every day: inflammation, sugar, and cortisol. And understanding them might be what saves your independence. When most people think of stroke or memory decline, they picture clogged arteries or high blood pressure. But the true damage often begins long before the blockage, in the chemistry of your bloodstream itself. 3 silent forces work together, day after day, to close your brain's lifelines from the inside out: inflammation, sugar, and cortisol. Inflammation is like rust on the inside of your arteries. You can't see it, but it silently corrodes the vessel walls, roughens their texture, and makes it easier for clots to form. Every processed meal, every night of poor sleep, every stress-filled morning fuels that corrosion. Then comes sugar, not just the obvious kind, but the hidden sugars that sneak into your breakfast cereals, sauces, and even healthy low-fat foods. High glucose doesn't just spike your energy, it spikes inflammation. It sticks to proteins inside your vessels, making them stiff and brittle, unable to expand when your brain needs a rush of oxygen. And when cortisol, your stress hormone, stays high, it keeps those vessels locked tight, like a clenched fist that never relaxes. A 2020 study in JAMA Neurology revealed that seniors with elevated morning cortisol were 52% more likely to experience a stroke, not because their blood pressure was higher, but because cortisol literally prevented their arteries from opening on time. Imagine your arteries as musical instruments. In youth, they respond instantly, widening with each note, every heartbeat in tune. But under the weight of stress and inflammation, those instruments harden, the music falters. The rhythm of your brain's blood flow goes out of sync. Now, here's the hopeful part. You can retune that rhythm. A 15-minute walk after dinner lowers both blood sugar and cortisol. 12 hours between your last meal and breakfast gives your vessels time to repair. Even one night of deep, unbroken sleep can lower inflammatory markers by 20% the next morning. This isn't about perfection. It's about rhythm. Healing is a rhythm. Each choice, a step toward flow or friction. And when you start living in that rhythm again, your brain begins to remember what vitality feels like. But there's one more secret, the part that turns healing from temporary to lasting. It's not just about lowering the pressure inside your vessels. It's about rebuilding them, layer by layer, cell by cell, so your circulation becomes younger from the inside out. When my patients ask me, "Dr. Hartley, how do I make sure this never happens again?" I always tell them, it's not about adding more pills or chasing the next supplement. It's about teaching your blood vessels how to breathe again. Your circulation is a living system. It contracts, expands, and even remembers. And the good news is, you can retrain it in less than 3 weeks. Here's the rhythm I teach: simple, practical, and grounded in real physiology. Morning, wake and hydrate. As soon as you wake, drink a glass of warm water with a pinch of magnesium citrate. Magnesium calms the smooth muscles in your vessel walls and lowers vascular resistance, making it easier for blood to move through capillaries in the brain. Most people are unknowingly deficient, and that deficiency alone can raise stroke risk by up to 30%. Midday nitrate power. This is when your nitric oxide production peaks. Use that window wisely. A cup of beet juice or a salad with spinach, arugula, or celery before lunch. According to a 2022 Harvard Nutrition Research Center trial, seniors who consumed these foods daily saw measurable improvements in cerebral blood flow within 1 week. You'll feel it not as energy, but as clarity, your thoughts sharpening, fatigue fading. Evening, release and repair. Before bed, the goal isn't activity. It's release. Slow nasal breathing for 5 minutes signals the vagus nerve to relax your arteries. Then perform heel pumps, gently pressing your feet into the floor while seated. This small motion activates your calf muscles, the second heart that pumps venous blood back to the brain. One of my patients, Harold, 72, started this routine after years of brain fog and unstable balance. By the 3rd week, he told me something that still stays with me. It felt like someone opened a window inside my head. Everything got brighter. That's what circulation does. It brings light where there was fog. Because healing isn't just about preventing stroke. It's about restoring oxygen to your identity. Every word you speak, every memory you hold, depends on that flow. And when your blood vessels regain their rhythm, you don't just survive longer. You stay longer. But there's something even deeper beneath all this science, something the numbers can't measure. It's the reason every heartbeat matters more after 60. When we talk about circulation, we're not just talking about blood. We're talking about memory, about presence, about the quiet ability to show up, to lift your grandchild, to finish a sentence without losing the thread, to stand steady when the world around you moves. That's what real independence feels like. And that's what this rhythm, your rhythm, protects. You see, healing is never just physical. It's personal. Every choice you make to open those vessels, every breath, every green meal, every step taken after dinner, is a message to your body that you're not done living. You're still building moments that matter. Your brain isn't fading, it's waiting. Waiting for oxygen, for flow, for the signal that it's safe to grow again. And when that happens, the fog lifts. Words return faster. The world feels clearer. So, take this as more than advice. Take it as an invitation. Start your circulation ritual today. Drink that warm water in the morning. Breathe before you eat. Move before you rest. And if you've already started, share your rhythm in the comments below. Someone out there, maybe a man your age, maybe a woman afraid she's losing herself, might find hope in your story. Because this isn't just about living longer. It's about staying awake in your own life, bright, balanced, and beautifully alive. If you found this message valuable, pass it forward. Your share might save someone's father, someone's friend, maybe even you someday. And when you're ready to go deeper, watch my next guide, 3 morning habits that awaken brain cells after 60. It's the perfect next step to strengthen the flow we've just begun. Remember, your brain is listening to your blood. Teach it the rhythm of renewal, and it will carry you forward, steady and clear.